Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. This is Supernatural News. And boy, is there a heavy amount of supernatural entertainment news we're loaded with this week, Mr. Dennis.
Yeah, there is. I don't know why that is, but there is.
I don't know. It's weird cyclical moments. Maybe they're just announcing all the new stuff coming up for the new seasons or what. I don't know. But we've got a lot, so let's dig in. Where are we going first?
All right, Dave, let's start with a place that I've been to recently. How about we do that?
Where is that?
Well, Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Actually, I was out in Las Vegas over Memorial Day weekend, and I decided to take a trip over there to the Haunted Museum. I'd never seen it before, actually, and I was quite, what's the word I want to use here? I was quite taken aback, and in a good way, actually.
When you see it from the outside, it looks cool, but you have no idea how big that thing is.
Not only
until you're inside of it.
Not only big, but man, the stuff that he's collected in there. And, I'll tell you this much, Dave. We've been to some impressive haunted places in our day, and we've been around some impressive haunted objects. But the assembly of things that he has there is a palpable vibration to that place when you walk in. Like when I walked in, and I don't consider myself, let's just say, affected by a lot of negative energy. But when I walked in that day, like, you know how you get that wavy back and forth feeling, like you're like almost like something moving you back and forth, it's hard to explain, but almost like an underwater type feeling. Yeah.
I know that almost drunk kind of feel, but not, right?
Yeah. I had that feeling from the moment I walked in, and I thought, well, this is kind of weird, but all right, we'll go with it. And, the walking through the different areas of the house and even security a couple of times came up to me and said, man, this place is active tonight. It is just active. And I thought, wow, okay. And interestingly enough, this incident with the haunted rocking chair that I'm about to read about happened the day after we left.
So you were lucky to get in there when you did.
Yeah. The night that we were there, it was the place was rocking. It was pretty palpable. It had some interesting energy going on. And interestingly enough, intern Yoko, we both got shirts from the place when we left. And intern Yoko tried to put her shirt on. She said, I can't. The energy from this is just, it feels icky. And she went to a local metaphysical shop. I've never seen her do this before. Went to a local metaphysical shop and got like gems. I forget what the name of the gem is, to actually ward off the negative energy from it before she'd even wear it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
That much energy in there, huh?
That much energy. I'd never felt anything. And she didn't even go into the Peggy the Doll exhibit or the Demon House exhibit. I did. There's one exhibit, the Oddfellows exhibit.
Did she rub you down with gemstones when you were done?
She took my shirt. She took my shirt and said, I won't allow you to wear this. I'm taking this shirt from you, and I'm doing the same thing with this shirt for you too. I said, okay. The Oddfellow. I will spoil one thing for you if you've never been to the Haunted Museum. There's a when you go into the Oddfellows part of the museum, there's a part of the museum that's set up like an old Oddfellows temple, and there's 2 real live skeletons that are sitting in caskets. And the idea is, back in the day with the Oddfellows, part of the initiation was you had to be able to stare into the eyes of a real life skeleton.
Right.
And you would do it for as long as you could. And the idea is to stare into the eyes and get as close as you could to the skeleton's eye sockets and stare into it until they told you not to. And the idea is to stare into the eyes of the skeleton to look into the face of your own mortality. And they asked for a volunteer, so I raised my hand. So I went up and I stared, like there was no space between myself and the skeleton. I mean, I put my face right into the face of the skeleton, and I did it for a good 2.5 minutes. Because it's a skeleton, what's it going to do? So, I don't know if that creeps you out or not. Didn't creep me out.
I'm just waiting to hear what happened. I was hoping at some point it reached up and tried to gouge your eyes out or something.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Boring.
So, and I should mention that I brought the Blue Meanie, our friend the Blue Meanie, with me to the museum because he was intrigued as well, and so he got a kick out of it too. I think he felt the palpable energy that night too. Not between the two of us. I mean, there was some pretty palpable energy there too, but I'm talking about with the museum, and I thought, hey, I think I'll impress him, and I'll. But this is a guy who used to hardcore wrestle, so I don't think it impressed him that I stared at the skeleton for 2 minutes in the eyes, or what used to be its eyes. But I could tell that walking through the museum, even he was a little shook that night too. So that museum is quite impressive. I'll tell you. But yeah, I'll preface this story with that if you think the haunted rocking chair was scary enough, and people will say, well, it's a haunted rocking chair.
Yeah.
Why would you?
I don't know anything about that yet.
Yeah. Why would you shut down an exhibit because it's haunted? There's stuff in there in that museum that will absolutely give you the willies. So with that preface, with me throwing that preface in here, here's the story. Zach has closed down a haunted rocking chair exhibit. The haunted rocking chair, of course, coming from Lorraine Warren's haunted collection, because too much creepy stuff was happening on camera. And here's the story on that. Zach Baggins has been forced to shut down that haunted rocking chair exhibit, and the devil may have made him do it. The Ghost Adventures star tells TMZ the exhibit's closure at his famous haunted museum in Vegas comes on the heels of several people experiencing paranormal activity on May 28th, opening night of the exhibit, and a month after buying the Devil's Rocking Chair. The chair has ties to famed paranormal investigator Lorraine Warren in the notorious Devil Made Me Do It case. When you check out the video, which you can see it on TMZ.com, they were told, TMZ was, that the frightening episode started 20 minutes before the first tour group visited. Zach and a friend noticed the door to the chair's room slowly creak open all by itself. And Zach also says a light focused on the chair, or the light that was focused on the chair went out when a power cord was mysteriously yanked out of the wall. 2 hours later, he says a woman collapsed, began bawling, and asked, "Why is this happening to me?" Shortly thereafter, she fell unconscious. According to Zach, who adds the woman was upstairs directly above the rocking chair exhibit. Later, Zach says 5 of his tour guides throughout the museum started crying uncontrollably. After just a few tours on opening night, Zach said the stress was too much and forced him to shut down altogether for the night. For now, Zach says the haunted rocking chair exhibit is closed until further notice. As TMZ first reported, Zach dropped $67,000 for the chair. It's the focal point to the horror book, believed to be the plot for The Conjuring 3, with Vera Farmiga returning as Lorraine Warren. Now TMZ knows who won't be there when and if Zach reopens the chair exhibit, and that's his pal Post Malone, it says here. Which Post has been to the reference there is that Post Malone has been to the haunted museum in the past, and there's a picture of him there in the lobby when you go in. There's pictures of past dignitaries that have been to the museum before. It's strange, Dave, and there's quite a few things. It's not just the haunted chair that's there that can give you that type of effect or give you that type of feeling. I mean, there's a lot there, but that chair above all others is something that really just gave people
that says something if they're closing it down after just a few days of it being displayed. I wonder what they're going to do to reopen that area. Is he going to seal it with holy water and relics or something to try to keep the negativity down?
I don't know. It makes you wonder what Lorraine did for all those years to keep it in check,
Lemon pledge, Tim.
I think that's what that keeps everything in check, really, when you think about it.
Cleans everything. Our next bit of entertainment news. Crime procedurals have always been a popular TV series genre, and with a multitude of such series airing, the main challenge right now is how to offer something different. And that's what The In-Between is trying to do, as the show combines a crime procedural drama with the paranormal. The In-Between, which airs on CBS, is syndicated for Asia by Blue Ant Entertainment, follows Cassie Bedford, who's played by Harriet Dyer, as she tries to solve cold cases using her sixth sense, which allows her to not only communicate but also experience what the dead went through. She's often roped into these cases by the ghosts themselves and her foster father, Detective Paul Hackett, who's played by Paul Blackthorne, and his new partner, who is former FBI agent Damian Asante, played by Justin Cornwell, who relocates to Seattle for unknown reasons, Tim. The series could be said to be a cross between Cold Case from 2003 to 2010 and The Ghost Whisperer, which ran from 2005 to 2010. Both series also aired on CBS and featured women in leading roles. Detective Lily Rush, played by Catherine Morris, and Melinda Gordon, by Jennifer Love Hewitt, respectively. Like Cold Case, the series, which started airing on May 31st, opened with a Seattle detective trying to find a missing person, only to realize that they're also dealing with a cold case of a woman whose eyes were gouged out. But like Ghost Whisperer, the case isn't as simple as it looks, as Cassie dreams about a dead woman who is connected to the case. The pilot episode opened much like any other procedurals. A newly minted detective gets a new partner and all his baggage, and a missing persons case turns into a murder case and then into another murder case. But with more attempts to shock people as audience are treated to gory imagery less than 10 minutes in, Cassie, again as a medium, was established as a woman who struggles with her abilities, but often his blasé, sarcastic attitude towards skeptics seems to belie her difficulties through a drinking binge in the opening scene, suggesting that yes, Tim, she's having a hard time dealing with these abilities. Her father, meanwhile, immediately accepts the fact that neither Cassie nor him can walk away from these cases. The super serious nature of the program provides little room for comedy, though. There are attempts, though very few elicit requisite chuckles from the audience. The effort is appreciated nonetheless, especially the quip Asante makes about drinking coffee because this is America. I can see why it didn't really elicit a giggle. What I do appreciate a lot about this program is Cassie not positioning herself as a guardian angel. She can be pretty vengeful and will willingly help a ghost exact revenge and even takes delight from it. Oh, I like the sound of that. Did you watch it? The In-Between airs every Friday at 10:35. Oh, this is over in the UK. I don't know why I'm reading a UK story about it, an American show I haven't heard about yet.
I don't know.
The In-Between. I'll have to set that up on the DVR.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, where are we going next?
Well, in the same vein, Dave, IKEA has come along, and they're here to save us all. They want to help you turn your living room into the iconic Stranger Things living room, Dave. I don't know if you've thought about redecorating plans there at the old abode, but...
Wait a minute. The Stranger Things living room, IKEA is going to help you get like this white trash, crappy-looking living room?
Oh, sure, Dave. I mean,
if I recall correctly, I don't think it was a very well-decorated place.
No, and according to the pictures, it still doesn't look that good, but they're here to help.
Okay.
Yeah. Ahead of Stranger Things returning in July, IKEA has gone ahead and recreated the Byers family's iconic living room. I don't know if it's iconic. As part of the IKEA Real Life series, a fun promotion that also sees the company recreating the living rooms from The Simpsons and Friends. Well, you could have The Simpsons living room, Dave.
Now that I'd like to have.
Coolest of all, they want to show you how to design the pop culture rooms using their products. Of course they do. They explain, we brought to life the iconic living rooms of the most beloved families of all time, and through tons of furniture combinations in lots of different styles and sizes and at affordable prices, because by gosh, isn't that what IKEA does? We've grouped all the products for each room for you, so it's easy to recreate what you see here in your own home. Take a look at... Wait
a minute. It's easy? What at IKEA is ever easy to assemble it when you get home?
Well, there's 475 parts, Dave, but it's easy to recreate it. It's not easy to assemble it. They didn't say to assemble it. It's easy to recreate it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easy to recreate what you see here in your own home. Take a look and make your living room iconic with IKEA. It's a slogan, Dave. That's what they call it in the advertising world.
I see.
Yeah. How much would it cost to turn your living room into the Byers family living room? Well, complete with letter wall and Christmas lights, approximately... Are you sitting down, Dave?
I'm sitting.
$1,441.54, according to IKEA.
That's not bad, actually. Not bad for a living room set.
It's just Christmas lights and letters and a couch and a couple of tables.
Right, but in today's decorative sense, Tim, if you go even to these furniture outlet stores,
yeah,
$1,000, you're going to spend that just on the couch nowadays.
No, that's true. Yeah.
You
can head over to IKEA's website to browse all the items you need to make it happen. They'll hook you up from there.
Oh, that's fancy stuff, Tim.
Yeah.
Big changes. Hey, we've got another TV program, Tim. Have you heard of The Rook?
The Rook?
The Rook.
No.
Starz has released a trailer for a new TV series they've produced called The Rook, R-O-O-K. It's an adaptation of the book written by Daniel O'Malley, and the story centers on a woman with amnesia who slowly learns that she is a Secret Service agent who is part of a group that recruits people with supernatural abilities and takes on paranormal threats. She also learns that she has special abilities of her own. This looks like an interesting series, it says, according to this article, worth checking out. And it stars Olivia Munn, Adrian Lester, Ronan Rafter, Catherine Stedman, John Fletcher, Shelley Kahn, and James Darcy. Here's the synopsis for The Rook. The Rook tells the story of Myfanwy Thomas. Myfanwy. Myfanwy. It's a white woman, too, Tim. Myfanwy Thomas. A woman who wakes up in London with no memory of who she is and no explanation for the circle of dead bodies around her. Boy, if I had $1 for every time that happened in college. When Myfanwy discovers she's a high-ranking official in Britain's Secret Service for people with paranormal abilities, she'll have to navigate the dangerous and complex world of the agency to uncover who wiped her memory and why. Lisa Zerling from Betrayal and Karen Usher from Bones, along with Stephen Garnett from The Night Manager, are the showrunners of the series, and it will premiere on Sunday, June 30th, 2019 on Starz. That actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Very cool. The Rook. Make sure we get that checked out as well. All right, what's our next story, Tim?
Well, Dave, the one movie that we've all been waiting for in the paranormal has finally come, and by gosh, we can blame Blumhouse for it. It's turning the iconic Magic 8-Ball toy into a feature film.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's turning the the Magic iconic 8-Ball into a feature film. I tried to skim over this as fast as I could, but it didn't work.
Wait, Blumhouse, who brought us all of the Conjuring movies, Annabelle movies,
right?
The Ouija board movies,
exactly.
Now we're going to be intimidated by the sound of. I didn't mean to hiccup in between there, so I don't think that'll be part of the sound of the Magic 8-Ball.
I hope not, yeah. Well, if you remember in the Curse of La Llorona,
Pardon me?
The Curse of La Llorona.
Bless you.
Thank you. There was a magic 8-ball in it.
Yes. I guess I kind of noticed that. But a magic 8-ball movie, how do you make that scary? It's a plastic round ball with, what is it? Yes, no, ask me later, I don't know, and it's yet to be determined or something like that, right?
Maybe it rolls down the hall and there's creepy music as it rolls down the hall.
And then once in a while an eye opens up from inside of it to look at you. Yeah. Still wouldn't be creepy. I'd just punt it down the hall, Tim.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah.
All
right.
I guess. Developed in the 1950s and manufactured by Mattel, the novelty Magic 8-Ball is one of the most iconic toys of all time, and now it's getting a feature-length movie adaptation. Huh? There's question marks afterwards. Yes, Deadline reports tonight that Mattel and Blumhouse are joining forces to turn the toy into a live-action movie, with Jeff Wadlow of Truth or Dare attached to direct. Jeff Wadlow, congratulations, you're the lucky director. The press release notes that the film will be suspense-filled. In what universe, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Wadlow will write the script, unfortunately, with Gillian Jacobs and Chris Roach. Since the 1950s, this is the quote, Magic 8-Ball has inspired imagination, suspense, and intrigue across generations. This iconic toy has a built-in connection with fans and untapped potential for storytelling, said Robbie Brenner of Mattel Films. Oh, I see where this is going, Dave. I don't know if you do. There are no partners better suited to tell the Magic 8-Ball story in collaboration with Mattel Films than Jeff Wadlow and Blumhouse Productions, whose unique approach to the thriller genre has captivated audiences worldwide and has gained widespread accolades. As fans of Mattel and their iconic brands, we're looking forward to bringing Magic 8-Ball, one of their most celebrated toys, to life. My tongue is firmly in cheek. And playing against expectations in doing so, said Jason Blum, founder of Blumhouse Productions. We look forward to partnering with Mattel Films to put this project on the fast track to the big screen and create a memorable experience for moviegoers. Yeah.
And then following up Magic 8-Ball next year, the slasher movie you've all been waiting for. Forget Freddy. Don't even worry about Jason and Michael. This year, be on the lookout for Mr. Potato Head, the movie.
No!
Right? Hey, you hockey puck!
I can't wait for when they jump the shark and we get the Rubik's Cube movie.
Wait a minute, dude. There was a Rubik's Cube cartoon. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
In the 1980s, there was a Rubik's Cube. He was like an alien, magical alien.
What?
Dude. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
What?
Did I mention oh, yes?
Were you that desperate for cartoon cocktails that you tuned into a Rubik's Cube?
I actually,
cartoon?
There's these great articles that pop up, and they're like 80s cartoons you forgot existed. And I remember watching an episode of it, but you get to watch like all the little bits and bobbles of it. But yeah, it was like Rubik's Magic Cube, and it's just horrible.
Oh,
horrible!
How many episodes did you tune into this?
I only personally watched one Rubik's Cube episode.
Okay,
as a kid, and then I've watched the little highlight film thing that from the 80s, cartoons you forgot. Let me see if I can pull up the audio on this. Let me see if I've got this.
Good Lord.
I don't know. And I know it sounds like I'm leading you into something, but I'm not. I promise you. This is
this isn't a bit.
Rubik the Amazing Cube cartoon theme song.
Oh no.
Yeah, let me see if I don't know if a commercial is going to try to fire off for singing. Huh?
It sounds like an Illuminati plot to take over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Rubik.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But Blumhouse will jump on it and make it a horror movie, I'm sure.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Although I don't know. Do they have a deal with Mattel or Hasbro, whoever's got those toy movie license?
I'm sure. Give it time.
Yeah. So a Magic 8-Ball movie. Was there any more to that? Or
No,
just the
no.
horror part of the story?
I've already gone through the scary part of the story.
Wow.
We can't get any scarier than that.
Oh, we can. We can and we will, Tim. A little later on in today's show, I think it'll be our final news story.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story that is probably, that story don't let the kids listen to.
Okay.
But I've got a paranormal crime themed tale to tell a little later. It'll be the last one.
That'll be the last one.
Last story. But first, let's get back into some paranormal entertainment, Tim, because everybody's cashing in on the paranormal cloud of mystery right now.
Okay.
Amazon. Oh, by the way, that Rubik's Cube, he is like an alien, so that is very paranormal in nature. You've really never seen that?
I've never seen it. No.
Never?
Never.
Let me see something here. If I think I've got... Yes.
Oh, God. Don't do it again.
I'm going to send you, because I love you, Tim, because you're like the brother I never wanted. I'm going to send you a link to that so that you can actually watch a full episode. I expect you and intern Yoko to do a full viewing of it and then an online review of Rubik the Magic Cube.
I don't want to.
Tim?
I don't want to.
Tim?
I don't want to.
You have a job to do, Tim.
I
Time to do it well. You got to give the other fellas hell, as Paul McCartney would tell us.
I don't want to.
I don't know why I just sent you the same story again. I didn't mean to do that. Now let me send you this one. There it is. There, it's like 43 minutes of Rubik's Cube cartoons.
Oh, God. What?
Yeah, Rubik the Amazing Cube Volume 2. It's a digitized copy of the VHS release. 2 episodes. Superpower Lisa and Honolulu Rubik. Yeah, I picked out 2 of the better ones for you, Tim.
Oh, God.
All right, going back to what's going on in the world of paranormal right now. Amazon Studios seems to be hell-bent on becoming the streaming destination for fantasy. The company spent $250 million just to secure the rights to Lord of the Rings, with rumors that Jeff Bezos himself was part of the negotiations. It's also currently in pre-production for an adaptation of The Wheel of Time, another massive high fantasy series of novels. Furthermore, it's not only just released Good Omens to rave reviews, but it is working with author Neil Gaiman on several potential series to follow. Now there's Amazon's Carnival Row trailer, which combines Victorian England with urban fantasy to create a pair of paranormal detective series. It's a paranormal-esque detective series, I should say. If it feels kind of like the thing that you might have seen inspired by Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes, backed with Harry Potter installments, you wouldn't be far off from that, Tim.
Okay.
The concept itself has been floating around since the mid-aughts, Tim, so back in aught-5-ish. Mm-hmm. Initially, the idea of making it a feature film with Guillermo del Toro, I can't say those words, they hurt my mouth,
okay,
under the title A Killing on Carnival Row. After the arrival of Game of Thrones proved large-scale TV fantasies were possible, the concept was rejiggered, Tim. I said rejiggered. And with the advent of original streaming series picked up by Amazon Studios in 2015, Del Toro has since left the project, but the new director, Jean-Emile, managed to land A-list level names. Cara Delevingne and Orlando Bloom to star. Billed as a neo-Victorian fantasy series, the first season will consist of 8 one-hour installments. The log line, according to the Hollywood Reporter, is as follows. In Carnival Row, mythical creatures fleeing their war-torn homeland have gathered in the city, and tensions are simmering between citizens and the growing immigrant population. We follow the investigation of a string of unsolved murders, which are eating away at whatever uneasy peace still exists. The Burg is a Victorian fantasy world populated by both humans and immigrant mythological creatures whose homeland have been invaded by the empires of man, Tim. The growing population of supernatural beings struggles to coexist with humans, forbidden to live, love, or fly with freedom. Cara Delevingne, or whatever you say, stars as a refugee fairy named Vignette. Stone Moss. Vignette Stone Moss. I like that. With Orlando Bloom from The Lord of the Rings playing the human detective Ryan Philostrate. I will be starring in one episode as a rookie detective on the force that'll be helping him.
Okay.
My name will be Digby McThunderpants, Tim.
Digby McThunderpants.
Yes, Digby McThunderpants.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be fun, but boy, are they really amping up the paranormal programming. Holy cow. Where are we off to next?
Well, Dave, speaking of paranormal programming.
Yes.
The CW has thrown their hat in the ring with a horror anthology series. This sounds familiar. 2-sentence horror stories, Dave.
Damn it.
Is coming in August. Our thing, yeah, is now a thing on the CW. Yep. While Sci-Fi's Channel Zero drew inspiration from creepy pasta tales or pasta. Is it pasta or pasta?
Actually, it's pasta.
Pasta?
Which is weird, but I've talked to the people involved, and it's actually creepy pasta.
All right.
Because a lot of it was pasting and copying and pasting stories.
Oh, well, then creepy pasta it is.
Yeah.
Creepy pasta tales. Another anthology horror series has been pulling from even shorter horror stories after premiering as a 5-episode short-form digital series back in 2017. The horror anthology 2-sentence horror stories is now headed to the CW with 8 episodes. It's going to be a short series, Dave.
Yeah, what is it, like between commercial breaks of The Flash?
Yes, exactly.
Or Riverdale? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Coming next on Riverdale. Now here's another short story. And an August 8th premiere date. Deadline reports that back-to-back episodes will hit. They better be back-to-back for half an hour. Reports that back-to-back episodes will hit the CW on August 8th at 8 p.m. Created and executive produced by Vera Miao, M-I-A-O, Meow, I guess. Best Friends Forever.
M-I-A-O?
M-I-A-O, Meow. Meow.
Okay.
Yep. It sounds like a nice kitty name. Vera Meow. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. It's the Meow Mix song. You can't get that out of your head once you start singing it. What's that?
I said, yeah, and thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. The series features contemporary tales of horror and haunting for the diverse and digital age. Inspired by the viral fan fiction of 2-sentence horror stories, this anthology series taps into the universal primal fears filtered through the anxieties of the most connected and racially diverse generation. Despite dizzying advancements in technology, inequality, social progress, and environmental degradation, the things that haunt us are still the same, it says. Meow executive produces with Emily Wiederman, creative control, and Chaz Carfora for Stage 13 in association with Warner Brothers. So there you go.
Sounds terrifying.
It does.
2-sentence horror stories. How do you do an entire series on it? It'll be interesting to see. Unless they're going to take like the 2-sentence horror stories and then develop an episode around the concept of that story.
That could be.
You know what else comes with stories, Tim?
What's that?
Every car that we've ever driven.
Oh,
that
true.
Ding in your bumper when you nervously picked up your first date. The luxury package you got after that big promotion here on Podcast One, Tim. Or the mileage you saved by riding your bike all summer because you work for Podcast One, Tim. Well, you can't put a price tag on your stories. Now, with TrueCar, you can at least find out what your car is worth when it comes time to sell or trade it in. Just go to TrueCar. Simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Then answer a few questions. Navigation and moonroof? Watch as they bump up your value. High mileage? You already knew that was going to cost you, but now you know how much it dings your wallet so you can plan ahead. Once you're finished, you'll get a true cash offer sent in minutes, which you can take to a local certified dealer to cash out or trade in. So, when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. True cash offer is not available in all states. All right, Tim, do we have any more entertainment news to report on?
We do, Dave. The Travel Channel, there's a Travel Channel series, Paranormal Caught on Camera, which has greenlit 26 new episodes, believe it or not.
I've found it pretty interesting. I did a similar series over on the Dark Zone, where we looked at different viral videos of the paranormal, and I weighed in on it with a few other paranormal celebrities, if you would, and we talked about what our thoughts were on some of these items. So it's interesting to see that they're doing it for the full show, and it's been really, really well received, and a bunch of our friends are on it. We've got Brian Kano is on there, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, there's been a few others, Susan Slaughter. So it's great to see them back on TV and doing something and really sharing some. There's been some freaky videos from the sea creature thing I saw to some of the ghost pictures. And videos, I can't wrap my head around it. It's pretty cool. Good stuff. I'm glad to see they've got more episodes coming.
Yeah. After that record-breaking first season, Travel Channel greenlit 26 new episodes of the hit series Paranormal Caught on Camera. The show, which launched on Wednesday, February 13th, posted a 50% increase year over year for its time slot and ranks in the top 3 of all Travel Channel original series. Over 13.2 million total viewers have tuned into the first season to date. New episodes will air early next year. Paranormal Caught on Camera gets right to the good stuff and delivers strange and unexplained phenomena that our audience can't get enough of seeing, said Matthew Butler, general manager of Travel Channel. These are head-scratching videos that are so crazy and unbelievable that you want to see them over and over again and may convert even the biggest skeptics out there. Plus, it's just plain fun to watch, he went on to say. Each hour-long episode of Paranormal Caught on Camera showcases the most amazing, eye-opening, and downright scary paranormal videos from around the world, as a panel of experts and specialists breaks down the footage and analyzes what exactly the eyewitnesses captured. The season finale will air on a special day on Sunday, June 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Paranormal Caught on Camera is produced by Meeting House Productions, Incorporated for Travel Channel. For Meeting House Productions, the executive producer is Jason Silo. For Travel Channel, the executive producer is Charles Nordlander. Matthew Butler is general manager. Henry Schleif is the group president of Investigation Discovery, Travel Channel, American Heroes Channel, and Destination America. For the bold, daring, and spontaneous, those adventurers who embrace the thrill of the unexpected, those risk-takers who aren't afraid of a little mystery, and if you're up for anything, down for whatever, and above all, love great stories, journey on to the Travel Channel, it says. And there's much, much more paranormal over there as well.
Very cool. And I hear there's an exciting new show that'll be debuting this October on the Travel Channel, Tim.
Really? You hear
yes.
that, huh?
Would you like to know the title of it?
I would.
I'm sorry, I'm not at liberty to say quite yet.
What?
Tim. I know. They're dragging this out. They won't let me announce it. But as soon as I can announce it, I will be announcing it. And we're going to figure something out. I want to do something fun, man. When it airs, I want to do a huge viewing party where we can invite tens of people to be in attendance with us, Tim.
I heard it was called Bikini Clad Paranormal. That's what I heard.
No.
It's not what it is.
No.
Well, so much for my scoop that I gave the other day.
All right. Is that it for our entertainment news?
That is.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more stories to tell. And remember to stay tuned for the last story tonight. Oh, it's one that's going to stick in your head for a good long time. We'll do that when we return. Stay tuned. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Supernatural News on Beyond the Darkness.
Coming soon to Podcast One, the Gigi Podcast with Rick Fox, Jace Hall, and Todd Roy. Log on to see the world behind the esports you love and find out what good game really means from the trio who's taken the business by storm, including the 3-time NBA champion behind Team Echo Fox. Download new episodes of the Gigi Podcast every week on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
Beyond the darkness.
Welcome back to the program. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. This is Supernatural News. A former prison for witches labeled the most haunted house in the UK has been placed on the market, Tim, so break out that pocketbook.
Oh, good.
A former prison for witches, widely reported to be Britain's most haunted house, is up for sale once again. Vanessa Mitchell, who's owned the cage in St. Osyth since 2004, has frequently reported ghostly sightings and activity going on. She moved out of the house in 2008 to live elsewhere in the village, with paranormal investigators making regular visits. Since then, Vanessa has repeatedly tried to sell the property and has placed it on the market the third time with an asking price of just £260,000, Tim. That's only about $300,000 American. And in radio money, Tim, it's $2.7 million.
About that, yeah.
I mean, that's how hard it would be for either one of us to buy a house like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
In a listing, Frinton-based estate agent Home Domus said, the cage is one of the most notorious and well-documented haunted 16th century cottages in Britain. It was once a medieval prison where 13 witches were held, pre-trial subsequently resulting in three hangings. Subject of a Channel 4 docudrama, paranormal experts have visited from all over the world, and there is a book entitled Spirits of the Cage, which we've covered right here on the show, about the events experienced by the current owner. The living accommodation comprises 3 reception rooms, kitchen, ground floor, cloakroom, plus 2 bedrooms and a bathroom on the split-level first floor. The earliest part of the cottage, known as the cage, was used to hold prisoners accused of witchcraft. A plaque on the side of the house describes the plight of Ursula Kemp, a St. Osyth woman who called upon by her neighbors to heal ailments and sickness. She was accused, tried, and found guilty of witchcraft and was hanged in 1582. Men, women, and children were detained in the cage until 1908. Outside of the house, a small walled courtyard leads to Coffin Alley, a passageway running alongside the property where the bodies of the dead were carried en route to the cemetery. Vanessa says she fled the house after she was physically attacked by spirits. She claims she was plagued by ghostly figures, pushed over while pregnant, and witnessed mysterious blood splatters appear. Vanessa even alleges she was spanked on the bottom by a demonic entity. Signed Tim up for a good time.
Cheeky.
But the agent claims the spirits included a satanic-looking goat have now been vanquished. Well, we'll pass on that house then. The house has now been cleared of the many evil residents encountered over the years. It added, it is still haunted, but there seems to be a certain newfound harmony within. It is time for someone else to take on this unique cage. One of only 7 cages left in the country, and none with the reputation of this one. Maybe someone interested in the paranormal, or maybe someone wishing to invest and turn it into a lucrative holiday cottage for the ultimate paranormal experience. If you're interested, for more information, call Home Domus on 01206916058, Tim.
That's not mine.
That's not your number. No, your number is 612. Well, I'm just going to tell people the difference between that number.
You don't have to.
And the other
you can give out.
Because the one I first read was a UK number. Your number is right here in the United States. It's 612. No. Oh, okay.
Just give out theirs.
All right. Well, it's only fair if I give out theirs that they should give out 612.
No.
All right, fine. All right, where are we off to next?
The moon, Dave. We're going to the moon.
Dun, 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 dun.
Close enough, I guess.
Oh.
Although, did you sing that to President Trump before he went over to England?
No, I did not.
You should have.
I'm not on singing terms with the president.
You're not? Oh.
No, we don't get together and sing together, Tim. It's just something I don't do.
You should. I'm sure he enjoys a good tune. Just saying. Mysterious flashes of light, Dave, up there on the moon's surface. Just saying.
What do you mean?
Well, there could be something up there. I don't know.
What?
Yeah. Scientists have launched a bid to observe and understand mysterious flashes of light on the surface of the moon. There could be something up there. I don't know. Transient lunar phenomena, say that 10 times real quick, occur several times a week and illuminate parts of the moon's landscape for a brief period of time before disappearing. That's what they say. That's what they say, Dave. Sometimes a reverse effect.
Who be they?
Them.
Who they is, Tim?
Them is them, Dave.
Not sure the correct pronunciation of all that, but
I'm not sure either. Sometimes a reverse effect, which causes the lunar surface to darken, has also been observed. Although there are several theories about the lunar mystery light's origin, They have not been yet fully explained. Now astronomers from Julius Maximilians Universität Würzburg in Bavaria, Germany. I think they're making this up, to be honest with you.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's JMU there in Bavaria, Germany. I don't know if you've checked out their football team, but they're pretty good.
No.
Yeah. Have set up a telescope which will use artificial intelligence to automatically detect the flashes. When a burst of light is spotted, the telescope will then collect video or photographs of the phenomena, which will be studied to help scientists understand the flashes. The so-called transient lunar phenomena has been known since the 1950s, but they have not been sufficiently systematically and long-term observed, said Hakan Kayal, professor of space technology. I think he's part Romulan, Hakan Kayal.
Kyle!
Yep. Kyle has a hypothesis about what's causing the longer-lasting flashes and hopes to...
does he?
He does, yeah. And hopes to prove this theory, Dave. Here's how he's going to do it. Seismic activities were also observed on the moon, the professor added. When the surface moves, gases that reflect sunlight could escape from the interior of the moon, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah.
My moon releases gases all the time, Tim.
Yep. This would explain the luminous phenomenon, some of which lasts for hours, Dave. Hours. Hours. I don't know why I went to either Vinnie Barbarino or Arnold Schwarzenegger on the bit. I don't know.
Arnold Barbarino?
Arnold Barbarino.
That sounds like a great name for a character.
It does, doesn't it?
That should be your porn name, Arnold Barbarino.
It is now. Arnold Horshack. Hours. Science does not know exactly how these phenomena occur on the moon, but it has attempted to explain them. The impact of a meteor, for example, should cause a brief glow, the university said in a statement. Such flashes could also occur when electrically charged particles of the solar wind react with moon dust. Take that, science.
Yeah.
I just felt
Stick that in your smipe and poke it.
Yep. And that's the name of that tune.
Oh, that's it?
Yep.
You know, Tim, we never get away together enough. We never get out and just enjoy each other's company on a nice, relaxing weekend.
That's true.
And I found a little place for us. So just a little getaway, nice little romantic weekend for us, Tim.
Oh, nice.
So whether you believe in spirits from beyond or not, this haunted hotel in Colorado is sure to send shivers down your spine, from stories of paranormal activity to serial killer-themed rooms. You can book a night if you dare, Tim. It's offering great views of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range. The Black Monarch Hotel is located in Victor, Colorado, just minutes from Cripple Creek, where we've been, Tim.
Yeah.
And a variety of historical hiking trails, including the Vindicator Valley Trail. Given the stunning setting, it may be hard to believe that this vintage hotel has more of a dark and mysterious side. Many of the hotel guests have reported strange encounters, claiming to hear laughing, shouting, and loud partying noises throughout the night. When checked, Tim, no one's there.
No.
Mysterious footfalls and footsteps have also been heard. The Black Monarch Hotel is inspired by horror, vintage design, and legendary serial killers. Every room is furnished with luxurious bedding and linens, featuring a collection of creepy antiques and vintage wall art. Private rooms feature access to shared bathrooms and a full-size kitchen. Serial killer themes range from H.H. Holmes, who's widely known as the master of Chicago's murder castle. Tim, a big hotel.
Yeah.
Bed and breakfast that he had set up.
Yeah.
Do you really want to go stay in a bed and breakfast based on a bed and breakfast by a murderer?
No.
Kind of asking for trouble.
Yep.
There's also the 16th century Hungarian Queen Elizabeth Bathory, who believed killing servants and bathing in their blood would restore your youth. So the bath experience there is quite different, Tim.
Yeah, it is.
The H.H. Holmes room features over-the-top elements, including medical prints, newspaper articles, maps of his murder hotel, and photos of H.H. Holmes. There's nothing better than getting it on with your loved one while H.H. Holmes photos watch over you. The Elizabeth Bathory room comes complete with a large canopy bed and a dark, heavy shears and a black chandelier. For those who favor more of a local legend opposed to a killer, there's the Nikola Tesla room, Tim. Perfect for history buffs. Local folklore is that Tesla was responsible for the original wiring of the building. The hotel's haunted legacy goes back to the gold rush days when it was rebuilt as a casino saloon and a brothel after a fire in 1899. Locals share their version of what happened, with some saying that the hotel is haunted by a miner who was shot and killed in a gunfight on New Year's Eve during the Wild West era. Others have claimed to see a female appearing at the top of the hotel staircase. Hotel owner Adam Zimmerly has big plans for expansion. Long-term renovations will include a rooftop patio, 7 new rooms of the upper level, and private bathrooms in each individual room. How about that, Tim?
Well,
stay in a room where there's serial killers staring at you while you sleep?
That's a little unnerving. I mean,
or Nikola Tesla?
Okay, you lightened it up a bit with the Tesla thing. That puts me a little more at ease. But then you throw in the whole battery thing, and that creeps me out again. I just
really, you're tasking the love of your life in bed, and you got Tesla kind of giving you that raised eyebrow portrait he's always got up. That kind of
that kind of it's kind of encouraging me, kind of egging me on, kind of like, go kid, go, and I'm kind of like, you got it, Nikola.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some.
I guess I'm more of an Edison guy when it comes to being spurred on in bed, Tim.
Yeah.
Well, I'm that way though. All right, where are we off to next?
Wasn't Edison more of a copier? Wasn't he like a?
They started casting aspersions on the great Tim.
Wasn't he a cheater? Wasn't he a?
All right, where are we going next?
Oh, anyway.
Stay tuned. By the way, stay tuned, folks. Our final story is not far away, and it is a doozy. And it's one you probably shouldn't share with the kids, but I promise it's a doozy. It's a doozy, Tim.
I guess you've been.
It involves a minister and a whole new form of exorcism, Tim.
Wow! All right.
Mm-hmm.
You've been teasing this one. Okay. Mm-hmm. We go to California, dear.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sweetie.
You've been building up this whole Colorado experience. I'm a little irked. I'm a little shook here.
Irked? That doesn't sound good. Maybe intrigued, excited, irked.
Between peeling my skin, bathing in blood, and having Nikola Tesla watch me.
You're welcome.
Just saying. Massive ladybug swarm over California shows up on radar, Dave. It's not a storm. It's not a tornado. It's not even a flood. It's just ladybugs. It's just little old me underdog.
Ladybugs, you say?
Ladybugs, you say, yeah. A huge blob appeared over Los Angeles, and no, it wasn't a big guy at all. It was just a ladybug. It appeared on the National Weather Service radar, and it wasn't a rain cloud. A massive swarm of ladybugs appeared over Southern California. Meteorologist Joe D'Andrea says the array of bugs appeared to be about 80 miles. That's right, 80 miles wide as it flew over San Diego on Tuesday.
Somebody contact Jason Blum. I hear a horror movie coming out of this.
The Ladybug Swarm coming to Blumhouse Films. But D'Andrea tells the Los Angeles Times that the ladybugs are actually spread throughout the sky, flying at about 5,000 to 9,000 feet, with the most concentrated group about 10 miles wide. 10 miles wide of ladybugs. The Times says one species, adult convergent lady beetles, mate and migrate from the Sierra Nevada to the valley areas where they eat aphids and lay eggs. That's it. That's the story. It's just
a big enough swarm to be picked up by like Doppler.
Yeah. That's huge. That's a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Tim.
Yeah.
If you love feeling scared, you may already know about the Sally House haunting.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most haunted houses in America. After all, it may not look like it, being a little white house that lies near the Missouri River in Atchison, Kansas. The house, though, is known for everything spooky, from apparitions to random fires, reported by paranormal investigators. And random folks, Tim, just like you and me. This house clearly is a whole new level of scary. And like most scary stories, the story of this haunted house begins with a little girl. As I'm sure you've guessed, the young girl's name, Tim? Sally.
Oh, I would have went Wilhelmina. Yeah.
No, it's the Sally House, Tim. It kind of gives it away in the title
of
said house, yeah.
All right. Sorry.
And now, Sally's become known as the Heartland Ghost. The house itself was built in the 19th century, somewhere between 1867 and 1871, and it belonged to the Finney family for more than a century. The husband was a doctor, Dr. Charles Finney. He used the front as an office space and examination room for patients. The living spaces for himself and his wife and baby were upstairs. One day, a mother rushed her young, collapsed daughter into the house, the little girl suffering from abdominal pains. Dr. Finney diagnosed the problem as an appendicitis and worried that her appendix would surely burst. He said that Sally needed surgery, and the mother agreed. However, Dr. Finney began surgery on Sally just before her anesthesia fully sedated her, Tim.
No.
She did not make it through the operation. The little girl died on the operating table, screaming in bloody pain.
Ow.
The Finney family continued to live in the house for the next century or so. The home's next tenant was a single woman for about 40 years before the next family moved in. The house was rented to a young family, friends of ours, Tim, the Pickmans, in 1993. Tony and Deborah Pickman. They were expecting their first son, who was named Taylor. To their dismay, paranormal activity began almost as soon as they moved into their new home. On October 31st, 1993, Tony came home from work and went to the kitchen for a drink. He noticed the little girl staring at him in the kitchen. And as soon as he did, he dropped his glass and ran upstairs. He told Deborah, "I saw her! I saw her!" Further, their dog started to growl at nothing. Then it really began. They often heard noises in the upstairs nursery. Fires broke out in the house. Toys would rearrange themselves, and to top it all off, physical attacks began on Tony Pickman, including scratches and burns all over his body. But Deborah and the baby were never harmed. Allegedly, the pattern of only men being harmed was commonly known as a symptom of the house. However, there's not much evidence that men were harmed either. Some say that the attacks on Tony, and men specifically, were Sally's way to seek revenge on the man that hurt her, Dr. Finney. The Pickman family tried to make peace with Sally. They bought her gifts and toys, hoping to stop the attacks, yet they continued. Tony and Deb Pickman moved out after 2 years in that house. They returned about 10 years later to do some investigating with psychic investigators. Many paranormal activity hunters have visited the Sally house to see for themselves and to diagnose the goings-on. The first few return visits were uneventful. The next began with Tony being thrown backwards into a door and pinned against it, unable to move by an unseen force. The other paranormal activity that has been observed at the house includes, but is not limited to, cold spots, objects moving and levitating, lights turning on and off, spontaneous fires, picture frames turned upside down, toys rearranging themselves. Deborah Pickman wrote their first-hand accounts of Sally's hauntings, the Sally House Haunting, a true story. Other entities have also been identified in the house. Aside from Sally, many belong to the Finney family. There's also a former Civil War soldier, an adult prankster, and a young boy named Frank, who died a year after Sally to a botched suicide attempt from his mother. She survived. He did not. The summation of all the psychics identify the negative entity attacking the house, and strong energies within it attached to the land, and is older than the house itself. It is housed, of course, in the scariest part of a scary place, the back of the basement. Whether or not you believe paranormal investigations, that's a pretty eerie story, Tim.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's all I had to share with you.
Wow.
It's the story of the Sally house, Tim. All right, where are we off to next?
Still wonder what happened to Wilhelmina. I don't know. Oh, we're going to a story where we find out why a physicist has proposed a pretty depressing explanation for why we never see aliens, Dave.
Why is that, Tim?
Well, here's the deal, Dave. The universe is so unimaginably big, and it's positively teeming with an almost infinite supply of potentially life-giving worlds.
Okay.
Right? So where the heck is everybody, Dave? That's the question. Where the heck is everybody?
Hey, where is everybody?
Well, that's a question. At its heart, this is what's called the Fermi paradox. Wasn't Fermi the one in Black Eyed Peas?
No, that was Fergie, Tim. Fergie. F-E-R-G-I-E, Fergie.
Okay. The perplexing scientific anomaly that despite there being billions of stars in our Milky Way galaxy, let alone outside it, we've never encountered any signs of an advanced alien civilization. And why not? Well, it's a decent question.
It is a decent question.
It is, yeah. And one that generations of scientists and thinkers have grappled with since the paradox was formulated decades ago. Some suggest aliens might be hibernating. They are lazy aliens at that. Or that something mysterious is preventing their evolution from taking place, or maybe they just don't want anything to do with us. I think that might be more, the answer. Last year, theoretical physicist Alexander Berezhin, from the National Research University of Electronic Technology, or MIET, in Russia, put forward his own explanation for why we're seemingly alone in the universe, proposing what he calls his first-in, last-out solution to the Fermi paradox. That's generally my solution to food, first in, last out. I know. According to Berezhin's preprint paper, which hasn't yet been reviewed by other scientists, the paradox has a trivial solution requiring no controversial assumptions, but may prove hard to accept as it predicts a future for our own civilization that is even worse than extinction. Oh, this sounds cheery.
What the hell's worse than extinction? That seems pretty ultimate.
It does, doesn't it? As Berezhin sees it, the problem with some proposed solutions to the Fermi paradox is they define alien life too narrowly. The specific nature of civilizations arising to interstellar levels should not matter, he writes. They might be biological organisms like ourselves, rogue AIs that rebelled against their creators, or distributed planet-scale minds like those described by Stanislaw Lem in Solaris. Oh, he's comparing other movies. Of course, even with such a wide scope, we're still not seeing evidence of these things out there in the cosmos. But for the purposes of solving the paradox, Berezhin says the only parameter we should concern ourselves with in terms of defining extraterrestrial life is the physical threshold at which we can observe its existence. The only variable we can objectively measure is the probability of life becoming detectable from outer space within a certain range from Earth, Berezhin explains. For simplicity, let's call it parameter A. If an alien civilization doesn't somehow reach parameter A, whether by developing interstellar travel, broadcasting communications across space, or by other means, it might still exist but not help us solve the paradox. The actual first-in, last-out solution Berezhin proposes is a grimmer scenario. What if the first life that reaches interstellar travel capability necessarily eradicates all competition to fuel its own expansion, he hypothesizes. As Berezhin explains, this doesn't necessarily mean a highly developed extraterrestrial civilization would consciously wipe out other life forms, but perhaps they simply won't notice, the same way a construction crew demolishes an anthill to build real estate because they lack incentive to protect it. So is Berezhin suggesting that we are ants, and the reason we haven't encountered aliens is because simply we haven't had our own civilization unthinkingly demolished by an unimaginably superior life form as of yet? Well, no, because we are probably not the ants, but the future destroyers of the very worlds we've been looking for this whole entire time. That's kind of a heady concept.
Wow, very deep and philosophical and junk.
Assuming the hypothesis above is correct, what does it mean for our future, Berezhin writes? The only explanation is the invocation of the anthropic principle. We are the first to arrive at the interstellar age.
Wow, that's a high score in Scrabble.
Yeah, it is. We are the first to arrive at the interstellar stage and most likely will be the last to leave, he writes. Again, such potential destruction wouldn't need to be willfully designed or orchestrated. It could just play out like a completely unrestricted system, bigger than any individual's attempts to control it. One example Berezin gives is free market capitalism, and another could be the dangers of an artificial intelligence untethered by constraints on its accumulation of power. One rogue AI can potentially populate the entire supercluster with copies of itself, turning every solar system into a supercomputer, and there is no use asking why it would do that, Berezin writes. Oh, see, he's on my side. All that matters is that it can, he goes on to say. It's a pretty terrifying outlook on Fermi. Basically, we may be the winners of a deadly race we didn't even know we were competing in. Or as Andrew Masterson at Cosmos put it, we are the paradox resolution made manifest. Even Berezin admits he hopes he is wrong about this, and it's worth noting that many other scientists have much more optimistic views about when we can expect to hear from advanced alien life, but the physicists' view are just the latest scientific statement of why we may be destined to gaze at the stars alone in time and space, much as we might wish it were otherwise. The paper is available at arxiv.org. There you go.
Excellent. Tim, for this next story, we're going to head over to Ireland. Where it appears that aliens have appeared to have arrived in Dublin after a number of UFOs were spotted hovering above Dundrum.
Yes.
David Collins was left baffled after sighting a bunch of bizarre flashing lights zipping across the sky from his bedroom, Tim. The mystified Irishman captured incredible footage of the freakish objects, bouncing up and down and all over the houses, Tim. Gobsmacked, David revealed the extraordinary lights seemed to interact with each other and remained in the air for over 4 hours, Tim.
4 hours, you say?
I did say it. Why aren't you paying closer attention? He then said, I wasn't freaked out. I was just bewildered. Just curious. It was wrecking me brain trying to figure out a logical explanation. I've never seen anything quite like it before. At least sober. I was just on me computer playing poker in me bedroom when they caught me attention. That's usually when I'm poking in my bedroom. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, that was about 8:30 p.m. in the evening. Then there was about 4 of them. A bunch of flashing lights. And they were in the sky until 12:45 a.m. So for over 4 hours they were out there. They kept moving, like falling behind the clouds and the chimneys, and then re-emerging again. They were moving in a linear way, up and down, and then left and right, constantly flickering, Tim. I said flickering.
Oh, flickering. Oh.
Flickering.
Okay.
Then they'd kind of fade out into nothing, and then brighten up again. Sometimes it was as if they moved towards me and then moved away again. 2 of them were just kind of moving towards each other, moving in sync, like they were copying each other's movements. So what could they possibly be? That's what baffled David. And he's been left scratching his wee head trying to work out what exactly the mysterious objects could be, Tim. A wee head, I tells you.
A wee head, you say?
He added, my first thought was that it could be lights on top of the poles at the Lewis station, but they wouldn't move like that. He quickly figured out pole lights don't just start dancing about in the sky, Tim.
A boot?
I don't know why I slipped in a Canadian
I don't know.
There.
I have no idea.
Then he says, I know SpaceX had launched like 60 satellites into space recently too, but I doubt you could see them from Dundrum. The most reasonable explanation is that they were drones. But who would be flying drones in bunches for hours at night? Meanwhile, the Irish Aviation Authority, the IAA, said they didn't receive any reports of UFOs in the area that night, Tim. The spokesperson said, in cases like these, we generally get official reports from air traffic control if pilots report anything. I'd encourage anyone who makes any unusual sightings to report it to the IAA. So be it. That's it, Tim.
Did anybody get his Lucky Charms while they were at it?
No, because he made a giant UFO and flew the fuck away, Tim.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, we're getting closer, Tim. The final story is almost here.
I see.
And it's a doozy, Tim. Did I mention that yet? I have a doozy of a final story.
You have mentioned it.
It's a doozy, Tim.
This is like the monster at the end of the book. We keep...
Yes.
Yeah. This is exciting.
It's a long doozy of a story, Tim.
This is exciting.
Are you ready?
I just don't want to find out that it's Grover.
No, it's not Grover.
Okay.
It's worse than Grover, Tim. All right, you're up.
All right. Explorers are stunned after capturing an eerie figure inside a mirror inside a haunted castle. I don't know why you'd be stunned that you got an eerie figure inside a mirror inside a haunted castle. You went to a freaking haunted castle. You're going to get something. It's like going to Disneyland and saying, holy shit, I saw a Mickey Mouse.
Oh, hi, everybody.
I don't know. A team of paranormal investigators were left stunned after capturing a mysterious figure looking back at them in a mirror. Surprise! Siobhan Macaulay headed a group as they visited what is considered the most haunted castle in the world, or one of them, Leap Castle, in County Offaly in Ireland on June 1st. Maybe I should continue with the accent. I don't know. Footage from their visit shows the camera focusing on a mirror in the building. Lisa behind the camera says, here it is. You can see him clearly. He's moving back and forth. He's moving again. Hello. He has a nose and he's wearing a hat. It was a leprechaun, evidently. Kidding. Lisa then spots what she claims is a beautiful young child. Lead investigator Siobhan sent the clip to the Irish Mirror and said, one of our guests on the night was recording the mirror because we had seen it the week previous and we caught it in the camera. If you watch the mirror, you will see the man coming back and forth on demand, and we've named it The Man in the Mirror. Oh, you took a Michael Jackson song, by gosh. While those inside the spooky castle were convinced the figure was proof of a ghost, the movement of it in relation, that's a hard sentence, to the camera person could indicate it is simply a reflection of the camera's light. But it is not the only ghost video to have emerged online in recent weeks. A daughter was convinced she captured the ghost of her dad walking her dead dog on her CCTV. So there you go. That's the name of that tune.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it? Or is that your last story?
No, I have one more story.
All right. You go ahead and read that, and then I'll cash out with my final tale, Tim.
All right. Here's my final story. The truth is out there, Dave. The FBI has released its file on Bigfoot, and it's a little shocking.
What?
Yeah. The Federal Bureau of Investigation on Wednesday released a correspondence file containing the results of tests it performed on a tissue sample alleged to be from Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, a purported human-like creature that was sporadically reported to be roaming the wilderness in the Pacific Northwest. The 22-page file, made public following a Freedom of Information Act request, showed that the FBI agreed to test a hair sample attached to a tiny piece of skin obtained and submitted by the Oregon-based Bigfoot Information Center. The letters show the group sent the sample after a 1975 report in the Washington Environmental Atlas referred to tests by the FBI laboratory in connection with the Bigfoot phenomenon. The letter wrote, quote, will you kindly, to set the record straight once and for all, inform us if the FBI has examined hair which might be that of a Bigfoot? When this took place, if it did take place, what the results of the analysis were. Peter Byrne, director of the Bigfoot Information Center, wrote in a letter to the Bureau, please understand that our research here is serious. The FBI said it had no record of conducting such tests. But in a subsequent letter addressed to Byrne, dated December 15, 1976, Jay Cochran, Jr., Assistant Director of the FBI Scientific and Technical Services Division, told him to send the sample to the FBI laboratory in Washington. The FBI laboratory conducts examinations primarily of physical evidence for law enforcement agencies in connection with criminal investigations, and Cochran wrote, occasionally on a case-by-case basis, in the interest of research and scientific inquiry, we make exceptions to this general policy. With this understanding, we will examine the hairs and tissues mentioned in your letter. 3 months later, the FBI reported the results of its tests. The hairs are of deer family origin, Cochran wrote.
Well, no wonder they released the information. It's a deer.
Yeah.
And that's it?
That's it.
That's all she wrote?
That's all she wrote.
All right, Tim, are you ready? The final story is here.
I'm ready.
Tim, we report on a lot of dark things on the show. Mm-hmm. And in our final story, I'd like a little audio help on this, if you don't mind.
Okay.
A Presbyterian minister with deep ties to Union County has stand accused of using oral sex in exorcism rituals on victims seeking counseling, Tim. A Presbyterian minister who said he was following the Bible used Native American exorcism rituals, gemstones, and even oral sex to extract evil spirits from men undergoing crisis in their lives. The church and men are claiming, Tim. This is the story of the Sexorcist. Like this, it's kind of like a porn version of the Exorcist theme. Dubstepping, I think they call it, Tim. The so-called healing acts, which, boy, do I need a healing, Tim. I need a healing bad.
Oh, God, no.
Which date back to 1999, were allegedly performed by the Reverend Dr. William Weaver. And oh, what a wicked web he weaved, Tim, a prominent Presbyterian minister who served as pastor at the Linden Presbyterian Church for 39 years. One of two Presbyterian churches in Linden, a city with a population of over 40,000. He also held several public roles, including chaplain for a county police department. Weaver, 69, was scheduled to face his three accusers during an internal church trial on January 25th, 2019. One day before the trial was to begin, he renounced the jurisdiction of the Elizabeth Presbytery. He was accused by the church of multiple acts of idolatry and sexual misconduct. The church charges having no bearings on the secular government's civil and criminal courts. No public charges have been filed against the Weaver. The men said they did report the sexual encounters to authorities, but the Union County Prosecutor's Office said they could not confirm nor deny information regarding this matter. With his renouncement, Weaver gave up his ordination and membership in the Presbyterian Church, but also avoided a religious trial. He then moved to a gated retirement community in Lakewood full of sinners, I've been told, Tim. Sinners in need of a good sexorcism.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, yeah. The Father is in.
God.
The trial was scheduled after the men alerted the Elizabeth Presbytery, which oversees 41 Presbyterian churches in Somerset, Hunterdon, Middlesex, and Union counties. The Presbytery determined through an investigation committee that there are probable grounds or cause to believe that an offense was committed by the accused. According to the official church charges, if Weaver was found at the religious trial to have violated church rules, the most punishment he would have faced would have been an expulsion from the Presbyterian ministry. In April 2018, the Presbytery of Elizabeth received allegations of multiple instances of sexual misconduct perpetrated by William Weaver, who was a member of the Presbytery. The Presbytery of Elizabeth, a regional body of the Presbyterian Church, takes seriously any allegations of misconduct. She said the Presbytery's response to those allegations was in accordance with its policy on sexual misconduct and the Book of Order and the Constitution of the Presbyterian Church in the United States. Mr. Weaver was placed on administrative leave while the investigating committee conducted interviews with multiple witnesses. Dobbs Alsop continued, the allegations were found to be credible and disciplinary charges were filed. An ecclesiastical disciplinary hearing date was set. How about that? How possessed are you, Tim, that you go to your priest and you're like, I think something's wrong. I'm depressed. I have fits of rage. Well, don't worry, Tim. I know just what you need to suck those demons out of you. Let old Pop Weaver handle this. Isn't Pop Weaver like a popcorn company?
I thought Pop Weaver was a type of baseball organization.
Yeah, either one's not good at this point.
Yeah.
Weaver, a graduate of Princeton Theological Seminary, has served as a chaplain on the Union County Police Department, the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 779, and the Hospice Division of Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, where he also served as a member of the Ethics Committee, according to his resume on LinkedIn. Sebastian Delia, a director of communications for Union County, confirmed that Weaver worked as a chaplain for the county police department from 1999 to 2007. Audrey Pereira, associate representative to the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 779 and the wife of the organization's president, also confirmed that Weaver was a chaplain for their group. We don't know who else has been hurt by this, she said. God forbid there are more out there. Pereira described Weaver as a smart and cunning man who did do good things, such as praying with veterans in hospitals, but did so with a mask, hiding his alleged misdeeds, like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He did good on one hand, but he's like Jekyll and Hyde on the other, she said. On one hand, he did this evil to God knows how many. It just can't have been these guys. There has to be more. Pereira and Weaver actually performed an exorcism in her Linden home, which her family thought had a poltergeist. Although RWJ did not confirm Weaver's connections to the hospital, declining multiple requests from My Central Jersey and the USA Today Network, New Jersey, to do so, Pereira said she personally saw Weaver acting as a chaplain at the RWJ hospital in Rahway on several occasions while she and her family were in the hospital. This is what he carried around with him, Tim. A suitcase of feathers, gemstones, and Ziploc bags. If you mention Bill Weaver's name in Linden or Union County, people would always say, "Oh, we love Bill," said A.J. Meeker, one of the men claiming to have been sexually abused by Weaver. He volunteered all over the place. He was a moderator of the presbytery. He did a lot of good things and was very well connected. Meeker of Edison, now 37, said he was 20 when he began seeing Weaver as a counselor in 2000. He was one of the three men who detailed their allegations in impact statements and delivered them to the presbytery. For the article that I'm reading, My Central Jersey and the USA Today Network, New Jersey, separately interviewed the three men who claimed to be victims, as well as two other individuals who were informed by the men of the incidents and reported from the impact statements. The three men said they also informed law enforcement of the allegations against Weaver, including the Union County Prosecutor's Office, New Jersey State Police, and the State Attorney General's Clergy Abuse Hotline. Mark Spivey, Director of Communications for the Union County Prosecutor's Office, said he cannot confirm or deny information relating to Weaver. Very weird. Very weird. Every meeting began with Weaver the same way, said Meeker. The minister told him to undress completely and lie on the bed. Then he placed an angel coin, a coin with an angel or saint printed on it and used for praying, on Meeker's forehead, and then wrapped a magnetic strip around his head to keep it in place. Weaver then would place a series of stones, both on Meeker's feet and hands, and on the left side of his right side of his chest. I was told that for him to get everything out of me, I needed to lay completely still, to not move the stones in my feet. Meeker said, wow, this is like shades of dark gray right here.
Yeah.
He would then take out the feather and scan my body from neck to my stomach.
I bet he did.
Weaver then opened Meeker's mouth, placed his own mouth on top of Meeker's mouth, and moved his tongue around to see if I had anything in my mouth or throat, Meeker wrote.
Getting creepy.
Then the interaction became sexual with Weaver engaging in oral sex, according to Meeker. He would then ingest my ejaculate and then spit up multiple pieces of plastic or metal into a Ziploc bag, Meeker stated. He said he began to ask Weaver about the necessity of the ritual. After the fourth or fifth time, I'm wondering. He said he began to ask Weaver about the necessity of the ritual and asked the minister if he was using the same techniques on women. Weaver, according to Meeker's statement, said everything would come out of a woman's navel, and every 30 days their cycle would clear them out. Weaver said the evil energy manifested itself into what he called hits. He also told Meeker that if the hits were left inside him, they would cause infertility and erectile dysfunction.
I bet.
After every session, Meeker wrote, he would then hold me and say he loved me, and he would protect me, and he would never let anything bad happen to me.
Sure wouldn't.
In this day and age, even in the year 2000, at the age of 20, wouldn't you know better than if your priest blows you and says it's in the name of God's work, that there's something off about that? Wouldn't there set an alarm on you before the fourth or fifth time you decide to finally report it?
The minute he pulls out the feather, I think I'm done.
Right. Well, maybe not. I do like that tactile feel. Meeker described Weaver as a shepherd of the flock, and he was trying to flock his shepherd, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He was very touchy-feely, like everyone got a hug or kiss on the cheek or stuff like that, Meeker said in a phone interview. He was very hands-on.
Yeah, he was.
He was good at lip service, too, apparently. Never inappropriately publicly. It was just like he was very loving and caring. Weaver also strove to represent a picture of piety. Not piety, Tim. Piety.
Well, there's some piety involved, too.
He always wore his shirt and collar, which Presbyterians don't do, Meeker said. William Wiest told of a similar encounter with Weaver. Wiest was one of the few people present when his soon-to-be wife's son, Rusty, 26, was found floating lifeless in the Delaware River 3 days after a boating accident in 1999. He was the one who called the police and was there when Rusty's body was pulled out of the water. As clear as day, I can see Rusty there, Wiest said through tears. I can see that image. The trauma tormented him, so when a friend recommended he speak to Weaver in counseling, I was at an extremely low point, he said. Wiest, 52, of Edison, who never considered himself a devout Christian, but always was spiritual and faithful, began meeting with Weaver and discussing other tumultuous points in his upbringing, such as the death of close relatives and tensions that arose later in life. He was in his early 30s at the time. We went through the whole thing, Wiest said, about the counseling sessions. It was always wrapped around the Bible and Bible verses and Jesus loves you and this stuff, and then it just evolved. Often catching his attention, hanging on the wall of Weaver's church office was a picture of Jesus hugging a man. In his impact statement he sent to the Presbyterian officials, we said that he and Weaver often spoke about heaven and the spirit world. We talked about what heaven must be like, that Jesus is always there for us and we're never alone, he wrote in the statement. We would pray together during the sessions, usually at the end. During the next few sessions, Weaver began to introduce certain gemstones that he said were supposed to help clear the spirits. Weaver told him the stones helped ward off evil spirits. According to his letter, Wiest remembers feeling his tensions ease as though the sessions were actually helping. I was now able to have those memories and not get upset by them, so I thought it was all helping, Wiest said in the letter. Then events took an unexpected turn. Wiest was set to marry his fiancée in February 2000, and he was struggling with his relationship with his mother, whom he had said he never fully supported the relationship with his soon-to-be wife. Weaver eventually presided over the wedding. After the wedding, Wiest's meetings with Weaver's took place either in the church office or Weaver's home, where they met in the family room. Their talks became focused on Wiest having to defend himself from evil spirits. Weaver, according to Wiest, would talk about old Native American rituals that were supposed to prevent evil spirits from harming him. Weaver instructed Wiest to sit quietly with gemstones or magnets placed in his hands and on his head. Weaver would light candles strategically placed in the room. He told Wiest the ritual was based on the Ephesians Bible verse of the full armor of God. About a month later, in the spring of 2000, Weaver told Wiest that in order for the ritual to be more effective, they had to go upstairs where he could lay down with the stones and candles. I felt uneasy, but I took his word that this was necessary, Wiest wrote in his statement. It wasn't long after that where I now had to take off my shoes with gemstones placed on my ankles and my shirt off as well. Over the next few visits, Weaver informed Wiest that he had suffered hits from the spiritual world and they need to be brought out through his semen by oral sex. Weaver told Staunton he laid in bed while the stones on him and his head and let the Reverend get it out. Feeling mortified was an understatement, but I didn't want to say he was wrong after he helped me to this point. What?
Jeez.
I mean, I'm not picking on the victims here, but at some point, don't you just... How much rectification do you give to something like this?
At that point, don't you just say, well, I'll call the wife in and let her do it?
Yeah, I was so confused and upset. I remember praying to God, please let me get this over with. The hit finally passed, and Weaver repeated the full armor of God verse. Wiest returned the following week, hoping that the worst was over, but Weaver told him that he suffered another hit. This time was different, as the only way to get it out fully was for him to draw it out with his mouth, Wiest wrote in the statement. I was so afraid and scared. Wiest remembers screaming in his mind for God to help him. When it was over, Wiest said in his statement, he showed me what it looked like to be a tiny metal ball and said that he had got that out of me. He said Weaver was able to take advantage of him because he was at such a low point in his life. I was so scared with everything I was dealing with, Weiss said. I felt scared. I was very raw. When Weaver told Weiss he had evil spirits inside him, Weiss believed him and became even more frightened and panicked. He remembers thinking, I'm scared to death now that there's something else wrong with me. There's something wrong with me that I can't help. This is biblical. But after a few more sessions, we stopped meeting with Weaver. I felt so small and worthless, like a piece of trash in the street, we said. I just couldn't face what had happened to me. He trusted Weaver and saw him as a religious leader. This is a man of God, we said. So this is just a bizarre deal. Now, the question is of consent. That's what they're saying. Robert Fugi of the Fugi Law Firm in Toms River, a lawyer who specializes in litigation brought by victims of sexual abuse, said he believes Weaver's alleged conduct could be viewed as criminal. If you look at the sexual abuse statutes, they talk about unlawful, unwanted, non-consensual contact, and certainly the argument would be that the pastor manipulated his position of authority, said Fugi, who does not represent any of the men who claim to have been victimized by Weaver. In the guise of practicing care and counseling to these individuals, he manipulated them for his own sexual purposes. But didn't they kind of give consent when they allowed it and went along with it multiple times?
No, they were manipulated.
I guess. Again, at some point, when your spidey sense goes off and goes, hey, my priest shouldn't be tickling my taint with a feather, isn't that when you decide it's time to get out?
You would think, but again, I mean, if you're manipulated spiritually to believe that you're doing what's supposed to be right, I mean, the prosecutor has a point. You're being manipulated. Right,
and I'm not standing up for this guy. I'm just curious. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just curious how it's not, if it's so spoken about, why is it not mentioned in church? Right? Shouldn't that have been a big part of it? Shouldn't that have been hey, here's how you help purge evil from your loved ones, right? That would be part of like the church edict, not just something your priest does for you. I'm just baffled by it all. Again, not standing up for the priest whatsoever. And I'm not belittling the victims in this because I've never been in that position. But it just seems like, I don't know. I just don't understand the common sense of it. It's baffling to me. It's almost like this guy had some kind of supernatural power over him.
Well, at the time, and keep in mind, it's the fact that he's using these metal bits. It's almost like a magician's trick. He's using these metal bits at the time, and he's setting up the trick. As he's doing. I know, I get
that all, but it's just still, you spit out a BB after blowing me, and then tell me that was demons. I don't know. That's weird.
And keep in mind, these people are at low points in their life, so they're thinking that it's all one big manipulation.
I don't know. I've been pretty low in my life. I just, again, I feel bad that I have to continue to reiterate. I'm not beating up on the victims on it. It's terrifying to think that somebody has that kind of power over you. That's what I'm baffled by. I'm not saying the people were stupid or ignorant of this deal. I'm just getting at the point that it's terrifying to me that somebody would have that kind of power over you, that in all sense of reality, and these aren't children, which you understand you could manipulate a little easier. We got a 20-year-old, a 32-year-old, another adult male involved, and it just seems to me like, common sense would step in over the sense of what you're going through. But I don't know. I guess that's the power of some of these Svengalis.
Then again,
right? That's how guys like Koresh and Manson come to power. They find ways to make people believe that what you're doing is righteous.
Then again, in the article, it keeps saying that this guy is a leader in the community that everyone trusts.
Yeah.
And they keep recommending him to different people. So if he's been highly recommended and they say, well, this guy is a spiritual leader who will help you.
Yeah.
And you're at a low point, well, and someone's recommended him to you, you're going to say, oh, okay, well, this is a guy who's going to help me.
That's crazy. Crazy stuff. That's it. I promised a strange story for the wrap-up. I think I delivered.
Yeah, you did.
That was a weird one.
Just don't deliver them to me.
Yeah. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got more of the best in Paranormal Talk Radio for you right here on Beyond the Darkness.